Welcome to sunny Tampa Bay. I'm Jamie, your accessible travel expert. My passion to explore all things accessible in Tampa is constantly evolving. As a travel advisor and travel enthusiast myself, I absolutely love sharing my tips and tricks. You know, some of the most accessible attractions in Tampa are actually step-free. So come along as I share with you my ultimate guide to Florida's most accessible destination. We're here at the Tampa Bay History Center. This is our first stop, and Manny is going to show us around. I really love how these screens up above show the different constellations. So one of the things that I really noticed as we toured around is the open space of all of the exhibits, really, and being in a power chair. You know, I need a lot of extra room to be able to navigate.
All of our exhibit areas are accessible, and there's lots of different types of accessibility. So there's the ability to move around the galleries, but we also talk about, you know, how the fonts and graphics in the exhibits are designed and where those graphics are placed on a wall so folks can read them.
Wow, this is the elevator? I've never seen one this big before. For wheelchair users, the Tampa Riverwalk is ideal with all of its paved pathways. There's so much to see on your journey through the 2.6 miles that you can travel. There's restaurants, shops, tons of things to do. We couldn't have asked for a better day to do this, truly. And while you're on the Riverwalk, check out Pirate Water Taxi. There are several spots to get on and off. The water taxis are wheelchair accessible, and guide dogs are allowed on board too. The captains give great information about Tampa. It's a beautiful view and a relaxing ride. I wonder if we'll see any gators out here today. You know, we've never really been to many parks that have a boardwalk like this that's so long. This is incredible. Usually they're not that accessible. I just absolutely love being able to get right in the center of the outdoors. Kevin and I are now at the Florida Aquarium. Oh wow, look at this. This is beautiful. You could spend your entire day just sitting right here. It's just so accessible. Everything is wide open. No problem getting around in my wheelchair.
Right from the get-go, once you enter the aquarium, everything is very accessible. All of our walkways are very large, and all 3 of our stories are wheelchair accessible for everybody.
Oh my goodness! For me, going regular skydiving would be challenging, but this is a wonderful option, and you guys have a whole program for people with disabilities.
It's called All Abilities Night, and we cater to any special need that we can. We try to let everybody experience what it feels like to fly in the wind tunnel.
That was so cool! And that's a wrap on some of my favorite places to visit in Tampa Bay. Whether you're a nature lover or an adventure seeker, just know that the accessibility and the opportunities are endless, and I can't wait for you to explore them. Hi guys! Let's not roll over the edge of the stage here. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with all of you today, and I wanted to start off by telling you a little bit about myself. I mean, who is this chick in the chair, right? I am the founder and owner of 2 companies, Adventures by Jamie, which is a travel agency mainly focusing and specializing on accessible travel. However, I do provide travel for everybody. I also, I have a marketing background, and I have the marketing firm, JS Creative Concepts and Marketing, which primarily focuses on small businesses and nonprofits. I am so blessed and thankful to be the Accessible Travel Ambassador for Visit Tampa Bay. This partnership over the last year has been incredible, and it's opened so many doors and really placed me as an expert for accessible travel. I'm a travel career coach for careers on vacation, helping other travel advisors build a portable, profitable travel agency of their own. And lastly, I sit on the board for Travel Ability, whose mission is to inspire and educate the travel industry to provide accessible experiences to help people with disabilities enjoy travel as much as everyone else. Now, I'm sure, much like the little girl on the screen, you're all wondering, why can't she walk? Well, this little girl, very, very similar to her anyway, walked up to me with her hands on her hips and a stare that meant business, all while her mother is trying to hide behind the clothing rack at Target, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe my child is actually doing this. Why can't you walk? Oh, okay. Well, how am I going to explain to this little girl why I can't walk in a way that she's going to understand? So the friend that I was with, seeing my, panic, says, well, she's lazy. Okay. But you know what? That was enough for her. A smile went from what you see on the screen, to a big smile, and she just, okay, and went on her merry way. But the truth of the matter is, no, I am absolutely not lazy. I'm very driven, I promise all of you. I was born with congenital muscular dystrophy. So I move everything, I feel everything, I'm just not strong enough to walk. Now, from where I sit, there can be a lot of obstacles that are in my way when it comes to seeing the world, and a lot of people telling me, no you can't, just because they see that I'm in a wheelchair. But you know what? Those people don't know me. Having a disability and being in this wheelchair has been an absolute blessing. And I refuse to let it or anyone tell me, no, I can't. I have been in an interabled relationship with my wonderful boyfriend, Kevin, who is sitting right over there. Say hi, Kevin. There you go. Kevin is a 6'4" floor walker, as I lovingly call him. Now, Kevin and I, we have flown in a hot air balloon. We've been ziplining over hungry alligators, and we've even held a baby tiger, and so much more. But none of this would be possible if it were not for the ADA. The Americans with Disabilities Act changed the entire nation, not just for people with disabilities, but for citizens in this country on that summer day in 1990. It was a declaration for people with disabilities like myself to have the right not to live in American society, but to explore it and thrive just like everyone else. As a 43-year-old disabled woman, I understand I'm very lucky. I have pretty much always known to live in a world that has accommodations, adaptive innovations, accessibility, adaptive sports. There's even adaptive theme park rides. But none of that was like that back years ago. It took people saying, enough is enough. I want to be seen. I want to be heard. I want to live what society deems a normal life. These were the voices of the first disability advocates, and they painstakingly fought to make the world what it is today. I want to give thanks to those advocates and assure each of you in this room that I am doing everything that I can to continue their legacy and make not only our great area of Tampa Bay more inclusive, but the entire country. Anybody that I can help, I want to. And I need all of your help to do it. The Americans with Disability Act recently celebrated 31 years. Within those years, the ADA has impacted everyone with disabilities, even if they really don't realize it. It's part of every stage of life, from when we're a child going to school, to when we get older and start our first jobs, into retirement. This law allows those with disabilities to live, work, and play along with everyone else. The Americans with Disabilities Act is a civil rights law prohibiting the discrimination of people with disabilities in all areas of public life. This includes jobs, schools, transportation, and all public and private places that are open to the general public. This law helps to ensure that those with disabilities have the same rights and access the same things that the community has available to everyone. Now, there are 5 titles with the ADA. Title I is employment. Businesses must provide reasonable accommodation in all aspects of employment. This may be things such as modifying a workstation or providing special equipment for the individual. It could also extend to changing the application process, hiring, wages, and benefits. Title II is public service. State and local government cannot discriminate based on disability to include transportation. This means people with disabilities cannot be denied access to programs or activities that non-disabled individuals have access to. Title III is public accommodation. Barriers in existing and newly constructed facilities must be accessible. Title IV is telecommunication. Now, if a business has telephone services for the general public, they must also have services that include TTY for the deaf. Lastly, Title V is miscellaneous. This includes provisions to prevent coercing or threatening a person with a disability, or assists when someone is helping a person with a disability assert their rights under the ADA. Now, here is where all of you come into play. Most businesses, when they hear ADA, they immediately think, oh boy, what's this gonna cost me? Or massive changes, and of course, the impending doom of lawsuit. You can all breathe a sigh of relief though, because I'm going to give you some examples of how you can leave this morning making your companies more inclusive with spending little to no money at all. First, we want you to use people-first language. This emphasizes the individuality, the equality, and the dignity of people with disabilities. Rather than defining people primarily by their disability, people-first language conveys respect. The fact that people with disabilities are first and foremost just that. We're people. I'm just Jamie. Companies should also use people-first language when communicating about disability issues, whether verbally or in writing. It's important to note that many people with disabilities, particularly younger people, are choosing to use identity-first language such as autistic or disabled. How a person chooses to identify, though, is completely up to them, and they shouldn't be corrected if they choose not to use identity-first language. Now, on the screen, these are some ways that people with disabilities are described. This list includes outdated language, terms and phrases that should not, under any circumstances, be used. Now, granted, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I'll joke around and say, yeah, you know, I'm handy capable. But, you know, realistically, not something you should throw around. But these other terms on the right-hand side are definitely things that are acceptable to most. But just keep in mind also, all of these terms, again, I'm okay with handy capable, but not everybody is. So if you really want to know what is appropriate when speaking to an individual, just ask them. I know they're happy to tell you. Now, I want to see a little group participation, and show me your hands of how many have been told by your businesses or by someone that bending over when you're talking to someone in a wheelchair is how you should approach them. Anybody? No? Wow. Okay, I'm proud of this group. All right. This hurts what I'm trying to teach you, but good. So typically, we are taught, and my boyfriend Kevin, in a training at work, was told, how to interact with people with disabilities. And his company told him that it was appropriate to bend over when you are talking to a person in a wheelchair, like this gentleman on the screen. And I immediately said, oh, really? Okay, no. Because the theory is it hurts our neck to look up at you when you're standing there. Now, I will tell you, my 6'4" boyfriend is like a giant standing next to me when we're talking. But I don't look up with him with my neck, I look up with him with my eyes. So it absolutely does not hurt to talk to somebody standing up. And if you really want to be eye level with us, sit in a chair. That's absolutely acceptable. Now also, Kevin and I have had many experiences, whether we're out to dinner, at a fast food restaurant, where our server will ask, and what would she like to drink, to Kevin or to a friend that I'm with? And I will say, I'd like a Coke, please, or at a doctor's office. And what's her date of birth? My date of birth is April 24th, 1978. And I tell you every single time, this is the expression I'm given. She does speak. It's amazing. So never think that when you see a person with a disability, whether it's someone in a wheelchair like myself, someone that is autistic, that they can't answer for themselves. Don't automatically choose to speak to the person that they're with on their behalf, because I guarantee you 9 times out of 10, we can definitely speak up. I know I definitely have a big mouth. Kevin will tell you it's very true. Now, I want to share a few tips with you of how you can make your businesses more accessible without spending any money. I can't tell you how many hotels, stores, public locations that I go into that this is what I see. They have the accessible button, outside to automatically open the doors. Obviously, there are elevator buttons so I can get to higher floors, but then there's a trash can right in front of it. And the last time I checked, my go-go gadget arms are not working. So I can't reach the button if I'm by myself. I'm not often by myself when I'm out and about, but there are times that I am, and doing this is not helpful. It seems like it would be, but it's really not. So it costs no money to just scoot that aside. Some small things that you can do also that will cost minimal money to make your businesses more accessible to coworkers, to customers, is what you're seeing on the screen. So I have seen a trend lately that going into restrooms, there are trash cans that are foot pedaled, activated to open the can. Well, my feet don't work that well, y'all. I can't I can't push the trash can to open it up. So what are we supposed to do? What am I supposed to do with my trash? I don't want to put it on the floor, but what do I do? So having a trash can that has an open lid is helpful. Now, I don't know, a lot of businesses don't have companion restrooms, but they do have accessible stalls. Firstly, if you don't need the bigger stall, leave it for people that do. I can't tell you how many times that I've been waiting for the restroom only to find, a 15-year-old that's bouncing around come out. Okay, you couldn't have gone to the next one, but that's all right. But With accessible stalls, yes, they are bigger, but my wheelchair isn't small either. So a lot of times it's difficult to get in the stall, turn around, and then pull the door shut with the little, lock that's on the door. So adding a handle like the one that's on the screen makes it so much easier. And a lot of wheelchair users also have mobility in their hands. So giving them something bigger to grab onto is much better. Lastly, having a paper towel dispenser actually on the countertops is wonderful. Now, why would that be? So picture a manual wheelchair user. They've used the restroom, they've washed their hands. 9 times out of 10, the paper towels or the automatic towel, hand dryer is at the end of the sink, high on the wall, typically with a trash can underneath it. So this manual wheelchair user has just washed their hands, they're wet, they have to push their wheelchair to try to get a paper towel, making themselves dirty all over again. So having a paper towel dispenser there for their use, and everybody's use, of course, makes it just so much more accessible and giving all of you guys an accessibility gold star. Now, it has been an absolute pleasure being here with you today. I hope that the information that I've provided is helpful, that you can take to just, make your businesses more accessible for everyone. I promise it even makes things easier for you. And hopefully it was a little entertaining too with my crazy stories. On everybody's table, there is a postcard with my information. I would love to partner with any of you to help make your companies more accessible. And, so there's a QR code on that card that links to all of my information. And finally, I want to thank, once again, Visit Tampa Bay for their extraordinary partnership with me in being a change agent, truly, in our community, recognizing and shedding a light on everything accessible in Tampa. It's been an absolutely great ride so far, and I can't wait to see what we do next together. Thank you all so much.